Ushuta sana is so hard when you have 3 kids in the house. You chase them away to baba bayodlala or something, but one is bound to come back and make a noise. So I want to apologize for taking so long to make this second video, and I just want to say I did not realize it would be so hard. Ndiyaxolisa. Molweni, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today, I would like to answer just question A1. Bana, why do people stay so long in abusive relationships? Or why I think people stay long in abusive relationship. Or should I say, why I stayed for 7 years in an abusive relationship. A short background story. I grew up with a brother, cousins, aunts, no uncles, but mainly I stayed with my mother. My mother passed away my first year of varsity. As I was gonna enter my first year of varsity, she passed away in January of that year. February, I had to start my varsity. So, my mother was working almost before she passed. She was a teacher. So, obviously, there'd be monies that were coming out. But that does not happen for a while. Like most people would know, back then it took a long while, especially if a person was married, blah, 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 blah. Yes, so many attachments to it. So, yes, I just wanted to clear up the backstory of my mother was the only person and the dependent for finances. I stayed in the relationship the first time it happened. My then boyfriend was not physically abusive for the first year and a half in our relationship. Everything was rosy, we dated, everything was perfect actually. I thought he was an ideal boyfriend. Maybe now thinking back, there were signs of emotional control and a little bit of verbal abuse, but they weren't that noticeable. Or maybe I didn't want to notice them. I don't know. After a year and a half, he slapped me for the very first time. He had never done it. He had never shown signs of doing it. The slap was because I had gone to a tavern where he was there with friends, and I called him because I needed something. I just can't remember what I needed at the time. I was 7 months pregnant, or 6 and a bit, close to 7, I think, pregnant. It was the holidays of September. It was a September holiday of my first year in varsity. I did not go home that year because I was scared of the pregnancy. I did not tell anyone. No one knew I was pregnant until December of that year. So, and I was scared to go home. So I lied and said, ndizohlala varsity and study. I did not stay in varsity, obviously. I went and I stayed with him at his home. And this is where the first physical abuse would happen, or happened. I think after the slap, I was so shocked. I think I was taken aback. I did not believe, this was him. He had just done what he had done. And it took in a sense that maybe I was in denial. This is my perfect or so-called perfect boyfriend. And I think he was so shocked at what he had done. He was very quick to apologize. He apologized. And he made it seem as if I was the one who had I was the one who had caused him to hit me. because he said, oh, if you didn't gone to call me there, like now you embarrassed me in front of my friends and the guys, you know, like stuff like that. And like dimamele, but I'm still saying bana undibethile. Like I packed my bags, I wanted to go home. He convinced me to stay that night because he saw I was packing. Then pakisha ndizixelela uba okay ndiyahamba. I'm not one of those girls. I know I was taught better at school. I was taught better by my mother. Banasana, if he hits you once, it's gonna hit you again. So I was ready to pack and go, like in Nansen Pakisha, thinking I'm going home. Whether he begs, whether he does what, I am going home. And I've always thought, okay, I'm a strong, clever, okay, or independent girl who knew right from wrong. And I always thought, man, better. I know when to get out, and that was the time to get out. But he convinced me only that night, and I'd go the next morning. I also opted by, okay, I'm gonna stay over today, and then come Sunday hamba, because it was late first of all, and there's no one at home, and how would I get home? And there were so many things involved for that day. So I thought so the next morning, siyavuka, like he did everything, like everything you would hear that a person who abused a person, the next day would do, he did. The flowers, the apologies, the chocolates, everything I liked, just to say he's sorry and he didn't mean it and it will never happen again. And if it did happen again, this time around, I must give him one more chance. And I felt like, I must give him one more chance and all of those things. And I felt like his apology was sincere as well. I think, I believed his apology. I was young. I was 19. So I believed his apology and I believed he was sorry for beating me. And I honestly thought he would never do it again. And I thought, no, Chinja, he's a nice guy. He would never do it again. And now, I never thought, I would give him reason to do it again. Because he also pointed out that if I didn't go there, he wouldn't have done it. He wouldn't have gotten angry to a point where he felt that he needed to do it. But I was like, okay, now he's blaming me. Maybe I was in the wrong. I started to believe that maybe if I didn't go, he wouldn't have hit me. Maybe if I stayed and waited for him to return my call or to see my missed calls and come, he wouldn't have done it. Or maybe if I stopped doing certain things, or if I stopped, I don't know, I ended up blaming myself. I put the blame on myself as well. Maybe, but next time I should watch how I do things. I mustn't just react out of an abrupt reaction. I must now it's like I'm watching my steps already after the first time. Okay, next time I just won't go. Next time I'll just call him, or I'll ask his friend to call him, stuff like that. Won't embarrass him in front of his friends or stuff like that. This is already what I'm forming in my head. But although I know bandite, if it happens again, I won't tolerate it. But I'm already forming izinto, okay, how I should react to not even have to go to a next time, I think he also made sure that I knew that I had no one at home. In what way? Because everyone was in PE. And by now, in that 1 and a year, I had already formed a relationship with him that has made him the center of my life. He made sure that I felt alone without him. And he also isolated me from my friends. As much as he did with my family, there were certain people I was in tight relations with because we were very close. So he couldn't detach me from those people, but the rest of my family, he made sure that he detached me from them. And he also made sure that he detached me from my friends, isolated me from my friends. So in essence, he was the center of my life at this time, which I didn't realize. But obviously, the way I depended on him so much, and now that I recall that I made him the center of my life in everything that I did, he also used that as a reason for me to stay. And I did, like, believe him, Banyani, where am I gonna go? Like, if I go home the next day, or now this is the next day, and I'm thinking, if I go home today, who am I gonna stay with at home? At home too, I'm pregnant. What if something happens? What am I gonna eat at home? Because I don't have money to buy groceries. And I felt so embarrassed to go to my uncle's house, which was there in my home area, because he doesn't know that I'm pregnant. I don't want to go to my aunt's house or my cousin's sister's house in PE because they also don't know that I'm pregnant. So now let me just tolerate and see if after this one time he will do it again. And then 2 to 3 years passed, and he never did it again, up until I provoked him again, and he hit me for the second year, the third, the fourth, and so it would carry on for a number of years, or 2 years, I think, till I got out of the relationship. 2 to 3 years until I got out of the relationship. I think the second time he hit me, I did pack my bags. I did want to go home. The second time he hit me, my child was a bit older now. I think she was 2, 3 years or 4 years. And he would do it in front of my child. Okay. Now, I don't want to say the second time I stayed because of the finances, because I was working at this time. I was working part-time during my study years. But I think I stayed because I felt I owed him the second time. I think I stayed in the relationship because I always blamed myself. And he made sure but I was always the reason, or to him, yeah, he always made me feel as if I was the reason he had hit me. So the second time onwards, I stayed because that is blame a man most of the time. But I shouldn't have done that. He's so, like, when he explains why he has done it, and this would be a day after the beating, I would believe his reasons. You must remember, guys, this is my first boyfriend. I don't know any better. I've never been I've never had a mother and a father in the same house, so it's not like I was exposed to such relationships. But there were relationships I was exposed to where husbands would beat wives and the wives would stay. So I felt like even Pumile, I would be selfish in the sense that this guy has helped me all these years financially when I didn't have money. And now I'm working and everything is going well, and I think now I want to get out of the relationship. And he made me, like, he voiced it out, like he made me feel like that as well. All these feelings I'm feeling is because of what he was saying to me. I grew up, I'm a Christian. I grew up at church from a very young age. And we were taught, the Bible teaches us, at church we were taught that you do not have sexual interactions or intercourse with anyone until you're married. We know this, and I knew this, and I believed this, and I still do, and I'm Klanje. And I had not only gotten myself involved in such interactions with this guy, now I had also gotten a child out of wedlock with this guy. So more than also blaming myself and everything, he had promised to marry me. So I think I believed him, and I wanted that stability for me and my child. I wanted that family life, but okay, let's have a mom and a dad in the same house so my child can grow up normally. So I wanted a stable home for my child so she can grow up with both her parents inside one house. I didn't want to now go and have sexual intercourses with other guys until I find the guy who would marry me potentially. And I also like had this mentality, but okay, let's say I dumped this guy and I go to the next. What if the next one also hits me? Let's say, or after having sex with him, he dumps me. So there were so many things that were going on at the back of my head that also like forced me to stay. Also, I think I stayed because I loved him. I wasn't like this guy. Let's not forget, abusers are not violent 24/7. They are not violent half of the time. They are violent on certain occasions or triggers, I would say. Because for my relationship, my boyfriend was triggered by alcohol. Like every time he drinks, I knew, bah, we're gonna get into it. I already like I had bet like I knew like I said yes, but okay, if he doesn't drink, we are happy days. Everything is fine. Like all is going well. We are so in love, yonkinto. But the minute he drinks, I know, but some way, somehow we're gonna fight. Even if I try to like prepare but be right in all things, do as he wants, but eventually this is over. So as much as he did hit me, there were days when it was good. Like it was good for days. For like sometimes it's good for all those days. Even if he doesn't drink, it's good for all those days. But the minute he drinks, I know bana it's bound to happen. So the other reason I stayed, I think, is because of the love and also because he wasn't always abusive. He wasn't in all instances abusive. He was abusive on certain things, I would say, on certain times when alcohol was involved. So uhlala as well because of that. Uhlala because every day lo muntu is hitting you or is triggered. Okay, in my relationship, he wasn't always triggered. So now, if I avoided him drinking, if I helped him to avoid alcohol, then I knew, it's gonna be good. Yeah, boy. So I also stayed because of that, of the love, and I also stayed because he was a good father. Like he was a good father to his daughter. And I still believe he's a good father even in namhlanje. So like I wanted to answer bana, it's not always as easy, it's not cut and dry like if it hits me ngizophuma namhlanje, or if it hits me it's over today. You always say those things. I was one of those girls ndanisitsho nam ngizophuma, if he hits me ngizophuma namhlanje, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna leave him. But it's not as easy as that. Like we always judge people in relationships. There's more to each relationship than meets the eye. There's more there's more that goes on in each relationship than we know, Tina. Some people are threatened in relationship. I was one of those people. I was threatened as well. Now at a later stage, like as the abuse was getting serious, I got threatened for my life as well. So I stayed because of fear in the later stages of my relationship. I stayed because I knew oti it's possible, it's gonna happen. Yeah, so I had to. I don't want to say I was the one or I knew about phone but I didn't know how I would get out. But then there's one phone puma, and I knew if I stayed in the relationship for longer, then I had to that I knew, because the relationship no longer served me. It no longer served him, I believe, as well. But now he was just holding on to what was a norm to him. And he was holding on because I think he just couldn't let go of me then. Yeah, well, because I think him now, we were out of the relationship. I was out first, but I think he was also out at some instant, because now it had turned so toxic, to a fact that the exchange of words would happen anyway, and they would happen in front of anyone. Like, like the things he would say to me, I can never repeat. Some I think I've just like blocked them out so that I can never remember again, because they were so vulgar. I knew, but okay, this guy does not love me. There's no way a person who loves you would say such things. So my message with you in this video, I guess, is like, don't judge ichomi zenu or your family members or anyone nithi uhleli because she wants to. No one wants to be beaten, guys. It's not nice. No one wants to go in front of people in a black eye. No one wants to go to work in a black eye, okanye classing in a black eye, because it doesn't matter what excuse you bring. What happened? It doesn't matter what you say. If you've got a black eye, it only means one thing: now you lying and saying that is like, and we are, as people will know about you are talking, but you just say because that's the only thing that at that time comes to mind, because we try so much to protect ourselves in this relationship of abuse that our image is poof. Because abuse, you feel embarrassed, you feel ashamed, you feel judged. So now you try so much to protect her, but as if you've done something wrong, and you end up protecting the abuser. You end up protecting him by thinking you're protecting your own image. So now I feel like I feel like if unechome betwayo, stop asking her chomo phuma nini. Yo, I got a chomi. Stop getting tired when she tells you. Stop getting tired when she calls you to come help. If you can, you just go help. If you can, it's okay. Do it over and over again. I promise you, like, one day when she's ready to get out, she will. All you can do is like love her, show her about your support, and don't judge. Just give an ear. The best thing you can do to the abuser is give an ear. Like, that's what my friends did for me. I won't lie. They've never asked me or stuff like that. One thing I appreciate, they've never done that, because I feel like as much as I was sidelined, didn't close at that time, because friendship here to get like it wasn't strong. We didn't even have a friendship at that time. I think as long as but they were there, like they were always there. If I phoned one of my friends and I said this, they would listen, like babe mamela. But I think I said this in one of the interviews I had, but I never gave my friends, or I never heard their side towards the whole abuse thing. I wish I did. I probably will now. In one of the videos, I'll listen to what they have to say. I feel like I want to hear how they felt, because I always thought ndim lo ubethwayo, ndim ova kabuhlungu, but I feel like they also went through the abuse. Just not like zanga babethwe, but they also went through it with me emotionally. I didn't wanna talk about my daughter here, or the first times and how she reacted in the abuse that was happening in front of her, because I'm planning to do a video with her so she can say her side and when she noticed the abuse happened. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Just lend an ear, guys, and lend an ear to the person being abused. And if you can help. We can use all all the help we can get in abusive relationships. I promise you that. And also, the guys, your friends, you guys smile through what your friends do. You always beg us, please forgive him. Oh, he's gonna go to prison. Uzabane criminal record, his work, his tontoni. I feel like guys can play a major role in abusers' lives. Like if you reprimand your friends, I feel like there'll be less abuse in the world. You guys laugh when they hit their women, like a tavern, niyahleka. Oh, aninqandi. Hayi andifuna ungena. Yes, I understand, like it's dangerous out there and it's not safe. Like anything can happen to you as well, usanqanda, but like your friends. Like your friends out of the tavern. So and like you reprimand your friends. You guys don't do that. I'm not saying girls don't become abusers as well, but it's mostly women who get abused so bad, like so bad up in South Africa at the moment. So yeah, I don't want this video to be long. Bendi's promising I don't even know if I'm making sense. I hope I am. And I hope why I stayed in the relationship for so long. I don't know, what do you guys want to hear? Like, what do you guys want to hear now? You can say in the comments or what you want me to talk about next. I could be having nice storyline, some SCT, but don't guys, you have questions, please do ask the questions you want in the comment section. You can send me a DM, Instagram yam, or your WhatsApp wam. You can send me a DM on both those channels. Or yeah, I don't know. I hope I have answered some of the questions or tried to explain why people stay in abusive relationships. Yeah. Comment guys. You subscribe most. It's free. It does not charge anything. Please subscribe to the channel. Please share with your friends. I saw that thank you so much for sharing this channel. Comment in the comment section and subscribe and recommend your friends to subscribe. Your friends might be going through the same thing and you don't even know. The amount of women now I have met or spoken to that are going through abusive relationship is nothing I imagined. We always think people are fine in their little corners, but they're not. So share the video. It could help someone who's in need. I don't know, or help share the channel. It could help someone else. Yes, that's all. And I promise next time I'm gonna do a video every 2 weeks. I won't do now every month. I'll do it every 2 weeks. So I'll see you in 2 weeks. Thank you. Bye.